Welcome everybody to a new seasonal championship, and this one is called Feliz Navidad, which means in Spanish Merry Christmas, because yeah, it is Christmas, and yeah, I wish you a Merry Christmas one and all, as well as Happy Holidays, and yeah, I hope you have a nice time. So yeah, we're in 70s cars in C class, which means that we can use this Lamborghini Espada in this championship, which we will be doing, and yeah, we're currently getting there in fine style. So yeah, Feliz Navidad is the championship is named after the song Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano, which is a fantastic Christmas song. It's easily one of my favourites, although I only came across it because I ended up hearing one of his songs in the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, then discovered the rest of his discography through that, including that Christmas song. So yeah, and I'm really glad that they've named a championship after that song, because yeah, he's a legendary artist from Mexico, and yeah, that's a legendary song as well. Still played religiously by me and many others, even nearly 50 years after its release. So or more than 50 years in fact. I think it came out in 1970. So yeah, nonetheless, we're nearly there in fine style with this Espada. So let's see what races we're going to do, and what other cars we'll be able to pick from in the rest of the races. So yeah, it is a dirt race, so obviously in this car might struggle a little bit because it is a rear wheel drive V12 powered car, but we will get to choose from the likes of the Alpine A110 and the BMW 2002 Turbo, both obviously cars more suited to going off-road. Then a pair of muscle cars in the Buick GSX and the Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport, and then another vehicle that is made for going off-road, the GMC Jimmy, and finally a brace of Holdens, the Tirana, the Sandman and the Monaro. So yeah, like I said, we're going to go in the Espada. Might not be the most sensible choice, but since it is a recent season pass car pass vehicle, and it's one I absolutely adore, I want to at least give it a show off in a race. So yeah, whether or not it's going to work, we'll have to see, but regardless, it should hopefully be fun. We're not exactly the only ones in unsuitable vehicles. There's muscle cars, and more muscle cars behind us. The Mach 1. Got an original Skyline behind and next to us as well. So yeah, we're hardly in the company of off-roaders, but there is a few rally cars I can see. There's a BMW 2002 Turbo, but we have way more power than. There is an Espada up front. Oh dear, we failed to brake in time, and there's a GMC Jimmy, so there's only really two off-road vehicles to be competing against, but there is an Espada in first place, so that does give me hope. We're going onto the dirt now by the looks of things. GMC Jimmy is going to come into its own here. The most powerful rear-wheel drive cars may well struggle. Although the off-road stat for this is not the worst that you could possibly have, it is still 5.1, so it does have some capability, and it does help that it's got reasonable ground clearance. Yeah, the fact it's only rear-wheel drive and it's got 350 horsepower is obviously not going to help all that much. You can see that the GMC Jimmy is working its way through the places. It's got past, I think it's a Sandman without the rear end on it. It's gaining on that Espada. Certainly getting further ahead than us. Oh no, it's a Chevelle. Never mind. Not the Sandman without the rear on it. So that's an even more powerful car than we are. 100 horsepower more than we do. Pretty sure it's heavier. This is where the Espada comes to its own. Spada versus a Spada. With a GMC Jimmy, that's probably going to gain us. Come on. Final bit. It's coming up. Yeah, Black Espada has beaten the Blue Espada. It's actually gotten overtaken by 2 other cars as well, I think. I'd burst its bubble, I think. So yeah, not an Espada 1-2 unfortunately, but we at least got the win, so that is fine. Let's go to 2nd and 3rd. Come on, show us. So the El Camino came in 2nd, the GMC Jimmy came in 3rd, the other Espada came in 4th, and a Honda Manalo came in 5th. So yeah, a nice varied amount of cars there in the top 5 there. Off-roader, you know, a Ute, technically, a muscle car, and a pair of Grand Tourers. So yeah, let's nonetheless get on to the 2nd race and see how we do there. So since we're at the Baja Scramble, I figured we'd go for the only off-roader in this, well, the ones that we got to choose from. So yeah, the GMC Jimmy does have less power and less in the way of acceleration than the Espada, but still has the all-wheel drive system, has the off-road tyres, the off-road suspension, has more torque, and yeah, should be better suited to this Baja Scramble. So yeah. The handling and obviously the braking isn't as good. I don't think the braking is slightly better, but the handling is obviously worse. But obviously the off-road capability is better, and the launch is actually better as well. So yeah, this should hopefully do well. It did pretty well in that previous race. It came 3rd, so even if we only come 3rd, that still will be a good showing, because it still gets us a reasonable amount of points and is on the podium. So yeah, let's hope it does well. Obviously it's by no means a racing car. Then the Espada is still quite a soft GT car, so that never was either. Yeah, it's probably this is probably hopefully a better suited vehicle here. And even though it's not got as good acceleration as the Espada, it's still hardly a slow car. I don't see any Espadas today on this, well, on this race even. We have a lot of Holdens though, probably because we're at the lower end of the C-Class range. We're not going to struggle with any water on this stage. Isn't deep enough to slow us down. Oh, the lean on this car. Oh, lots of lean. It's putting the door mirrors onto the ground there. I love it when cars have body roll. It makes it a more fun car to drive. I know it's not as fast and or controlled or anything like that, but it is definitely a more entertaining vehicle to drive. I just wish we had more cars from the 70s, to be honest, on these games. That and the 80s still seem to be the decades that are lacking in a lot of ways. And one thing that still annoys me about these Forza games is something that's persisted for a while. All the classic cars that still aren't viewable or fully viewable in Forza Vista. I'm talking like the DB5, the Mini, the Ferrari Daytona. Those kind of vehicles still aren't fully viewable, and it just feels like, why? They're common enough to find, because obviously they've, you know, continually been able to put those cars in a Forza game every time they've updated the models and everything like that. So it just seems like, take a picture of the underneath, please, under the bonnet, in the boot. Doesn't seem like too much to ask for when, you know, you're already scanning the car itself and recording the audio from the engine and the like. So yeah, it just seems a bit annoying really that it's been so long since, you know, we've had these Forza games started, and those cars are pretty much, you know, staples of the series amongst others that I'm forgetting at the moment, and yet they still haven't, you know, been given the full Forza Vista treatment. It's a big shame, because they're the kind of cars I'd love to review. I like to have a lot of visual aids while reviewing, and not being able to see the engine is one thing, but then not being able to even see into the boot or anything like that is a whole other thing. Which is why I was fine reviewing this GMC, because yeah, I couldn't see the engine, but I could see into the boot, I could see, you know, its versatility as an off-roader, so I was fine with that. I'd rather have something than nothing, and we currently have nothing with those kind of iconic cars. We're currently getting beaten by a BMW 2002 Turbo. BMW seems to lean quite a bit as well, but not as much as we do. It's ridiculous how much bigger this is than that car. Oh, we've got another win in the bag, but again, like with the Spada, not by a million miles or anything. Was quite close. And obviously we weren't properly first until we got past that BMW again. But yeah, the Holden Sandman vehicles came, yeah, second and third, and then BMW 2002 Turbos came fourth and fifth, so they're the dominant vehicles they are in this race. And yeah, that gives us another 20 points, meaning we've got 40 overall. So yeah, we've got quite a lead really in terms of points, but still we're not out of the woods. So yeah, let's get on to the third and final race. Right, so we've had a GT car, we've had an off-roader, so I think we should go for something a little bit more sporty, and I think, yeah, we're going to go for the Alpine 1600S. No, it's nowhere near as powerful as the Espada or the GMC. As you can see, it's only got 123 horsepower, but it weighs way less than both of them. You know, it's more than 2,000 pounds less than the Espada, and coming up for nearly 2,500 pounds less than the GMC, and yeah, it should be pretty fun to drive. So, yeah, might be a mistake, but we do have a 18-point lead at the moment, so yeah, even if we don't only get like third or something, we should probably still win. So yeah, I want to try out something sportier, even though I do really rather like the previous two cars. In fact, I like all three of these cars really rather well. They're all very good in their own particular way, and yeah, I love me this little Alpine. Extremely small, but really rather potent and capable. Not just as a road car or a sports car, but as a rally car as well. So that will be the case for this. of how much smaller this is than that GMC. Pretty much fit this car underneath it. The Skyline has made a return, doing better than they did last time. Got up front, it's extremely foggy at the moment, so I can't see very far ahead. I know there's a Sandman in second, but I cannot for the life of me work out what's in first. So I guess we'll find out if we catch up. I think this is the first foggy race that we've had. Nice to know that that's a option in the weather systems as well. I think it's a Monaro. No, it's a Tirana. Close enough. Giant Chevelle in our rear view mirror. Fit this car in the back of that thing. We did. I was hoping we could get away with it, you know, being Christmas and all. But we were not forgiven. So, as you can see, despite having easily the least powerful engine here, it's not hindered it at all. And again, it helps that it weighs less than all of them as well. It doesn't need all that much in the way of power. It weighs so little. Obviously that hinders it on the straights, but we've not really had that many of those to deal with. And we get a triple win on this seasonal championship. And yeah, did that in 3 fantastic cars. I love the Espada. The GMC Jimmy is an absolute joy to drive. It's just really rather fun in the way it leans over and can deal with pretty much anything that you throw at it. And yeah, the Alpine there is a car that is a sports car that can go off-road. So yeah, in the same kind of vein as the Lancia Stratos. So yeah, there we go. 20 points, 60 overall, 22 ahead of the Holden Tirana, 26 ahead of the Sandman, 29 ahead of the Nissan GTR, and 33 points ahead of the El Camino, with the GMC Jimmys there suffering in that race, probably because it was quite a fast-paced one. But yeah, nonetheless, like I said at the beginning of this episode, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope you have a fantastic time, and yeah, eat lots, drink lots, and just have fun with your family, friends, and whoever else. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.